Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Big Arc here, and today I'm bringing you a Brewmaster monk guide as said before. First things first, I'm just going to get straight into it and tell you about the stats and all that you need to do. So, firstly, what monks should probably look for is haste. Haste is good for your energy, so you can regenerate faster, so you can do the tiger palms, the keg smash, and everything that requires energy. Haste you shouldn't go too far, only to about 30%. Brewmaster is my off spec right now, so I'm still working on actually getting to the good point. Um, so from haste, you want to follow up with crit, and then mastery. So mastery for monks this year is pretty good. It is elusive brawler. Each time you are hit by a melee attack, you gain stacking 18.2% increased dodge chance until your next successful dodge, and it also increases your attack power by 18.2%. So this is good, and this can really make Brewmaster monks one of the better tanks because just for that reason, just the extra 18% dodge. That's basically the stats. Secondly, what I want to go through though is the artifacts. See, since this is my off spec, I don't have the full kind of thing filled out. So what I do is I start with exploding keg, obviously, full keg, and then you want to go to potent kick, get 3 out of 3 on that. Go to hot blooded, which is it increases the burning effect of breath of fire. Then you want to go to tiger palm, or the tiger palm upgrade, so face palm, and then you want to go to obstinate determination. The gift of the ox summons an additional healing sphere when your health drops below 35%. So that's good. Healing spheres can often be redeemed with expel harm, which is really good. So normally, based on my situation, I normally heal myself for about 400k per healing sphere. So it's really good to help out the healer, and you can get some decent heals per second on your own. Now, going from there, you want to kind of switch directions, and you want to kind of just go to Dark Side of the Moon. So it's as it says, Blackout Strike also reduces the damage of the target's next auto attack against you. So that's an increase by 6% when you have the full rank upgraded. From that, you want to just go to Smashed. So that just kind of makes it easier to grab a hold of aggro. Basically, you have more range to do your keg smash, and then you can do Rushing Jade Wind or something like that. Again, from here, you're going to switch some more directions, and you're going to end up going from Hot Blood all the way down to Obsidian Fists. So this is an increased crit chance for Blackout Strike. It's just a 12% increase. This is because I have this artifact relic that actually helps that. So from that, you want to go to Overflow. So it says each time Gift of the Ox generates a healing sphere, it has a 20% chance to instead generate a greater healing sphere that heals for twice as much. So, again, an extra rank from one of my relics, but this is good because if I said I normally heal for 400,000, then this could give me a chance to get one that could possibly heal me for 800,000. So, again, that's really good. So then from that, you just want to get Brew Stash. So activating Purifying Brew or Iron Skin Brew grants you 10% dodge for 4.5 seconds. So from here though, since I don't have everything unlocked, what I would do is I would get this second gold trait. So it basically helps your breath of fire. So the tooltip says, after using Breath of Fire, you breathe fire 2 additional times, each dealing 21,065 to 21,069 fire damage. So basically you're doing 21,000 extra fire damage. And then once you get that, I would work my way on finishing this trait up here to get to this golden trait. So just kind of get swift as a coursing river and staggering around. And then from that you can get gifted student, and you can just work on filling up your traits. So that's really good. When you have a good artifact knowledge, it really helps you get artifact power for your off spec. But now what I want to go into is the talents. So there's a lot of different variations that you can do for Brewmaster, which I really like. This is currently what I run. However, it is open to a lot of change. So what I typically do for the 15 bracket is Eye of the Tiger. So this is a passive which basically heals you every time you do Tiger Palm. So it applies this damage over time effect, which heals you, as you can see. Heals you for 45k when it does 50k damage to the enemy, which is really good. Another good option though for tanks is probably Chi Burst. So like if you're in example Halls of Valor, this would probably be a lot better, because this Eye of the Tiger can only be put on one target, while even though this has a cooldown, it can be really good. So as you saw in my Mistweaver guide, Chi Burst, it's just kind of a group damage. As you can see, it does healing to you, but it also does damage, and yeah. So if you're in kind of an instance like a Mythic Plus or a raid where you're tanking and you have to basically get off like bigger numbers and group damage, I would definitely put Chi Burst instead of Eye of the Tiger. But if you're working on just a regular boss or just like small trash packs, then Eye of the Tiger is probably better than Chi Burst. So the level 30 bracket is pretty good. I would always choose between Chi Torpedo and Tiger's Lust. So Tiger's Lust is good if you're in a fight where you get stunned. So for example, like Emerald Nightmare, if you get hit by on Cenarius, like if you get hit by one of his roots, like his stuns, that can be good to get out. But it's also just the extra boost increase added to roll, which is good to get away. So I prefer Tiger's Lust over Chi Torpedo. Chi Torpedo is good. It gives you momentum, but if you really need to get somewhere and you use Chi Torpedo twice, you're basically wasting like a 10-second time frame where you can have 30% increased speed. So that's partly why I choose Tiger's Lust. So honestly, it's like between these two for the 30 bracket. So for the first two brackets, you can just choose kind of depending on the fight which you want. So for the 45 bracket, it's a bit different. You can choose Light Brewing, Black Ox Brew, or Gift of the Mists. Normally what I do is I just disregard Light Brewing, because that just gives you like increased charges on your Iron Skin Brew and your Purifying Brew. So it's okay, but I don't really need it. It's like I already have 3, and I find that when I tank, I don't really need to use them all the time. I can just get by on, my healing spheres, my healing elixirs, my fortifying brew, stuff like that. So yeah. From that, I use Ox Brew, or Black Ox Brew. So if I'm in a fight where the healer can't quite keep me up and I always have to keep my stagger, then that's when I would go Black Ox Brew, because then I can not be afraid to use my Purifying Brew and my Iron Skin Brew, because I know that I can refill them once I use them. It's like every 90 seconds, every 1.5 minutes, so it's pretty good that way. It also gives you like an increased amount of energy, so if you're going on a bit of a burst, so like Tiger Palm, and then you do Blackout Strike, Keg Smash, and then you do like Rushing Jade Wind, stuff like that. Energy can be lost, but like even if you have to like kind of use your own heal, so like a fuse, this can be good. You can use a fuse a couple times, Black Ox Brew it, then you can get full energy. You can use your brews to get back up, and that's fine. So Gift of the Mists is the third choice that you can have. So the tooltip says Gift of the Ox has up to a 75% increased chance to trigger based on your missing health. So if you look back, Gift of the Ox is when you take damage, you have a chance to summon a healing sphere visible only to you, and this healing sphere obviously heals you, which is good. So like again, if it's stacked with the artifact talent overflow, you can get a 20% chance on that to get a healing sphere that heals for twice as much, which is really good. So from that, I normally switch between those two depending on the fight. If I really take a lot of stagger damage, then I would totally do Black Ox Brew, but normally I would just rock Gift of the Mists instead. So that's kind of it for the 45 bracket between these two again. So for the 60 talent, what I would do is normally just leg sweep. That's just what I always do, unless you're doing gold farming and you have to summon the statue to take aggro for you. You kind of never really have to, so leg sweep is always good. This is pretty good for PvP. Like if you ever do Brewmaster 3s, then I would recommend this, but you know, leg sweep is always just one of the better choices. So the 75 talent bracket, I normally go in between Healing Elixir and Mystic Vitality. Mystic Vitality I think is new, just released in patch 7.1.5. So the tooltip says stagger is 40% more effective against magical attacks. So if you're in a dungeon and you know that, oh man, like I already take so much damage, then you can just use Mystic Vitality, and you can you can decrease the amount of damage that you're going to get through your stagger. What I mean by that is like it kind of just makes life a little bit easier on the healer, because instead of taking so much magic damage like you normally would, you're taking only 60% of that, which is good. So that 60% you could probably heal yourself through, which isn't that hard. But I normally just go with Healing Elixir because I find that I never really go against magical attacks that often. So Healing Elixir, it's just 15% of your maximum health, but it automatically triggers if you're below 35% health. So this is just like you can get a quick 30% health increase just if you're in the situation. So that's why I like to have it. I have it when I'm Mistweaver too. It's just kind of that backup situation. But yeah, so that's kind of the 75 bracket. You can choose between these two. I forgot to mention Dampen Harm, but I don't really use this. So the tooltip says reduces all damage you take by 20% to 50% for 10 seconds, along with the larger attacks being reduced by more. So I don't know, if you were in PvP, then maybe. However, like in fights, you have basically a couple healers in a raid group, so they should be able to handle you. Honestly, you probably shouldn't have to be in a situation where you have to reduce your damage taken by 50%. Normally, if you can heal it and you can kind of maneuver your way out of it, you should be fine. So yeah, again, like these three, I would probably go with one of these two. So the 90 bracket, I used to go with special delivery. So this is like whenever you drink one of these, there's a 30% chance that you can toss like a keg, one of these, into the air, and it can land. And it does, like, again, 250k damage like within that area, and it reduces their movement speed. I used to do that. However, I found that I wasn't being able to keep up aggro because I was still new to tanking. So instead of taking the chance to have like aggro, I just went for the for sure aggro, and I just did with Rushing Jade Wind, and I haven't looked back. So it summons a whirling tornado around you, causing 116k damage over 5 seconds to enemies within 8 yards. So you've probably seen it in a bunch of tanks before. You have this kind of animation here, and it's really good for doing damage. You can pull some pretty high numbers if you use it too. You just gotta keep it in with your rotation. It's like a 5-second cooldown, so if you keep it up fairly often, you'll for sure keep your aggro, which helped me with the problem I was having with special delivery. So if any of you have played Windwalker, you know you have Zwen the White Tiger to come and do damage. If you've played Mistweaver, you know you have Chi-Ji the Red Crane to come and help heal. Well, Brewmasters, we have Nuzao the Black Ox. So this is where it summons like a mini Nuzao, and it's kind of like another taunt for if you don't want to fight it. So it's kind of like your own Warlock's Void Walker, but it goes away after 45 seconds. So he does like a bunch of stuns, which are pretty good too. However, I like to have aggro on me. That's why like I switched from special delivery, because I didn't have aggro. So again, like I would just choose Rushing Jadewind no matter what. So that's probably your best 90 bracket. So the 100 talent now is between Elusive Dance. So your Purifying Brew clears an extra 15%. So instead of 50, it's 65, and it grants you like up to 20% dodge like increased, and your damage is also increased by 20%. So this changes like on the amount of stagger that you like clear. So in my UI, like this black bar right here, this is my stagger bar, and like it gets red when it's like around halfway. So I haven't used it that often, but if the more stagger you have, up to like the higher point to 20%, you're probably gonna have like an increased chance. So if that makes sense, like what I'm trying to say is the further you're up on this bar and you clear it, the higher chance you're gonna have to get dodge and increased damage. So yeah. Then there's high tolerance. So your stagger delays an additional 10% of incoming damage. So I'm not sure if I went through this over the beginning of the video, but stagger is it's like you don't take damage immediately. It's like you just put the damage that you take and put it over time. So you take 60% of the damage and 40% is like put aside, and it kind of just hits you periodically, and you just get it over time. So this high tolerance, it delays an additional 10% of incoming damage. So that means like you only take 50% right off the bat, but then you get another 50% over time, which can be okay. And based on like your level of stagger, like this talent also increases your haste, which is good. I mean, like if you're not fully propped up on the 30% haste mark, then this could probably be good for you. However, it changes. So yeah, I'm in my Mistweaver gear right now though. I should have this and this equipped. Save, because then sure, my haste is down a little bit, but you know, I get a free shield, right? A free absorb. So yeah, sorry I got off track there, but that was high tolerance. So these two basically affect your stagger. So these are kind of more defensive, I would say. So the main choice that I use is Blackout combo. So Blackout Strike here is like two-handed melee weapon required. So it strikes with the blast of chi energy, dealing 120k. So this with this talent, this is basically once you use this, you have a chance to have empowered attacks. So the attacks that can be used are Tiger Palm, Breath of Fire, Keg Smash, and like your 2 brews. So with Tiger Palm, the damage would be increased by 200%. The Breath of Fire cooldown is reduced by 6 seconds when you use it. Keg Smash, so it reduces the remaining cooldown on your brews by 2 seconds. So if you use Blackout combo and then Iron Skin Brew, it pauses the stagger damage for 3 seconds. So it's like 3 seconds where you don't get that tick periodically hitting you, which is pretty good. And then Purifying Brew, so it grants you a stack of Elusive Brawler. So that's like, again, you get you know, your increased dodge. See, before at the beginning of the video it was 18%, but when I put my when I put my legendary and my new gear on, then it actually like increased to about 21%, 22% dodge. So this is good because the way I see it is like any situation that you're in, you're always going to be using Blackout Strike. 2.5 second cooldown. So basically, once you click it, like it's like a second and a half until you can click it again. So it's really good defensively because you can pause your stagger and you can get increased dodge, while you can also use like increased damage abilities, which is good. So like this one, Blackout Combo, really goes good with Black Ox Brew, because you know, if you really have to and you have to really keep on pausing stagger, you can Blackout Strike, Iron Skin Brew. You can do that pattern 3 times, and then you can, like, if you still have to, you can use your Black Ox Brew and then do it again. So you can get up to like 18 seconds of like where you don't take stagger damage and it's just direct damage, which is good. So yeah, now what I want to go over though is kind of the rotation. So the way I see it is when you're in a giant pack of mobs, what you want to be doing is kind of focusing on getting aggro as soon as possible. So if you come down here and say there's like 3 here, you would always pop Rushing Jade Wind, Keg Smash, Tiger Palm. You can do your Blackout Brew, and then by that point Rushing Jade Wind is active. You still have that Blackout combo buff. You can do Keg Smash and just all your AoEs, and you can just kind of get some good damage off of that, which is good. That's normally what I do for my rotation. If you need to, you can throw a stun in there with a leg sweep every once in a while, but if you're really low and you're getting like low health on your character, that's when you would probably want to break from rotation. So what I mean by that is I will actually like switch from attacking and just focus on my defensive down here on this bar. So I will use my Fortifying Brew, which is like it increases your health by 20% and it increases your stagger and reduces the amount of damage you take. So that's kind of what I would focus on, like when my health is low. I would just focus on getting my healing spheres, you know, healing elixir. I would still focus on keeping Rushing Jade Wind up for aggro and like still kind of my AoE abilities, because that can still get me like the aggro so it doesn't like go to the rest of the raid or Mythic Plus. So yeah, that's kind of the rotation that I would go through anyways in PVE. So yeah, this has I think I've covered almost everything. I think I have covered everything. The next thing I would really do though is just PvP, but I don't PvP that often, as you can see. So maybe in the future I'll make a PvP video, but yeah, this is gonna be it. So this has been Big Arc again, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. I've just hit like the 20 subscriber mark lately, and if you guys haven't noticed, I'm doing a WoW token giveaway at 50 subscribers. So that's the equivalent of 59,807 gold at this day. So if you guys are interested, please subscribe at 50 subscribers. I'll be doing that giveaway. I'll be like picking the subscriber out of all 50, and I'll private message the winner, and we'll be able to connect that way. So yeah, again guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm just gonna throw a shout out there to my good friends Rosie and Robert. They've been really helping me to produce content. They've been really pushing forward my channel. They think I'm doing a really good job, so it's really nice. Yeah, just shout out to them. They're really nice people, and yeah, just really fun to hang around. So yeah, this has been a Brewmaster guide. If you guys have any suggestions, questions, anything, just leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, just like and subscribe, and yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.